Hi everybody, thanks very much for tuning in to this month's webinar to learn more about all things travel counsellors. So my name is Matt Harding, I head up the franchise sales and our recruitment team here at Travel Counsellors, and we're really excited to give you a bit more insight into the world of travel counsellors. So I'm joined today on the couch with Julia. Julia works on our team, so hi Julia.
Morning Matt.
We'll hear lots from Julia in a second about her work, what she's been up to, and one of the trips that she's just recently been on. So we've got a jam-packed agenda for you. As I mentioned, we've also got an interview with Hannah, who's one of our travel counsellors that joined us at the end of 2019, and she's going to give us a little bit of an insight into her world. But before we do, I thought I'd just give you a bit of an overview on how March was for us as a business. Now, I'm going to look at my notes here to make sure I get all the information right. So for any of you who've been watching our webinars over the last couple of months or following any of our social media channels, you'll know that sales have been in abundance at the moment. We're having a tremendous time as travel's bounced back. As all the travel restrictions have started to ease, we've definitely seen demand increase, and we're now up to pre-pandemic levels. So in March, for example, for both leisure and travel, we superseded 2019 levels by at least 20%, which is tremendous to see. We also had in March 207 of our travel counsellors having their best month ever, so which is just awesome to see. We had between the top 20 of our travel counsellors here in the UK, they did over £20 million worth of sales, and the top 3 travel counsellors in the UK sold over £700,000 worth of new business alone on themselves, which is just truly amazing. So in January and February and March now, we've had 500 of our travel counsellors having their best months ever. So the demand is absolutely there for our travel professionals. We're seeing some amazing bookings come through, whether that's late bookings for people getting away at Easter, or whether we're looking at getting away in May, or even going into the school holiday. So it's been a tremendous opportunity for the right folk to get involved and start up their travel business. So, as I mentioned, we've got Julia with us today. So Julia joined our franchise sales team back in the summer of last year. So Julia joined us as part of our colleague recruitment team here at Travel Counsellors, saw an opportunity to get involved in franchise recruitment and applied for the role, and she was very successful. So tell us a little bit about yourself, if that's okay, Jules.
Yeah, thanks Matt. So I started, back in October 2021. I don't know where that's gone. And was really looking at, my first week was actually going to the business travel show down in the Excel, which was a fantastic opportunity for me to network, meet some of our suppliers that we work with, which was brilliant. Since then we've been super busy, loads of people applying to open their franchise, which is fantastic to see, and just all from different walks of life. So it's been great to see people that have been in travel for years that may have left due to the pandemic, and it's in their blood, as you well know. You've been in travel 30 years, so travel is really in people's blood once they've worked in travel, so they have wanted to come back and look at a new opportunity within travel. Also, a lot of people coming on our Travel Academy who have never worked in travel before, and maybe the pandemic made them realise that they weren't necessarily enjoying their current career, so they wanted something new. So it's been great to see lots of different people applying to us at the moment. And obviously we want to talk about today some fantastic opportunities that travel counsellors offer for people to help grow their franchise when they first join us. So most recently, I got to go on the Clear conference. Now, I always get this wrong. It's the Cruise Line International Association. Right. And obviously when you join Travel Counsellors, we do give a free membership to Clear, and it enables you to go on some fantastic conferences throughout the year. So I was lucky enough to go on the River Cruise Conference. So flew out to Budapest. The first 2 days was hearing all about from the MDs of a lot of the large cruise companies, hearing what their new products are for 2022-23, and we got to go and tour the ships and experience the product. I was with 30 other travel counsellors, and it was fantastic just to, network with them, find out a little bit more about their franchise and their business. They were brilliant, a lot of them on social media, taking pictures, vlogging about the experience, because you are the eyes and ears for your customer. So when you're on the ships, you experience it firsthand, the entertainment, the food, it was fantastic. And then we got to sail on the beautiful Rosa Donna up the Danube, and we went to Budapest, Bratislava and Vienna, so I can highly recommend a river cruise.
Perfect.
But yeah, and obviously recently we've had a lot more educational trips for our travel counsellors to experience. So I know Sue, one of our team members, went on the Virgin Voyages recently. I know you've done that one yourself as well, haven't you, Matt? And there's loads more coming up. We've recently had a corporate conference. So lots of opportunities to network and meet new people within the community as well.
It does feel like things are getting back to normal now. So I think many of us have worked in a virtual world, haven't we, for the last couple of years, with it being the pandemic, and we've all adapted to the new technology and done Zooms, and we've done Microsoft Team meetings, but there's nothing better than face-to-face networking. So as Jules mentioned, we've got lots of opportunities that are coming up in order to experience the product. So over in our head office in Manchester, we have what we call TC Takeover Days, where we have our supplier partners that will come in and do some immersive training. So very recently, we've had a couple of those on happening. We also did a TC Takeover Day down at the Vox in Birmingham, where we had over 100 travel counsellors have a fully immersive training day with about 20 different suppliers and had a full day's worth of product training. So there's lots of opportunities. And as Julia mentioned, joining travel counsellors gives you an opportunity of being involved with Clear. So Clear are a great organisation that support the cruise industry. And we've got over 100 of our travel counsellors going down to Southampton in May for the 3-day Clear conference, where you experience 3 different cruise ships, as well as lots of conference sessions, lots of networking and lots of product launches as well. So there's lots of opportunities to be immersed into the product as the world starts to normalise. But we've also got that blend here where we still have, for those folk that maybe can't get out or feeling a little bit uneasy still, so we do also do things still in a virtual manner as well. So it's really good. So what was your favourite part of the river cruise at conference then, Jules? Tell us about your lasting moment.
I think it was great because obviously I'd done ocean cruising. I've worked on a cruise ship, so it's very different to go on a river cruise. But it was just the whole experience. When we sailed out of Budapest, it was just incredible. I won't lie, I shed a tear. I hadn't been anywhere in 2.5 years, and it was absolutely brilliant. So if you ever get a chance to go on a river cruise, I'd highly recommend it. It was fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. So as Julia mentioned, we've got one of our travel counsellors who's going to come in and to give us a bit of her experiences of running her own travel franchise during the pandemic. So Hannah joined us back in 2019 as the world was normal, really, and not foreseeing what would happen within the future. So Hannah's back with us today because we have over in our head office in Manchester our anniversary days each month. So if you're celebrating an anniversary of being with us, whether that's for a year, 2 years, or right up to 25 years, we invite you back for a celebration and where we just have lunch together, we network, we have a Q&A with some of our head office staff, we do a tour of the building, and it's just a nice way of everybody getting together. So Hannah spent the day with us today, and I thought it'd be really interesting for us to hear all about Hannah's journey as Julia talks to her around, if you're starting a travel business now, what would you learn next, or what would you do differently? So let's hear from Julia and Hannah.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Hannah. We really appreciate your time. So tell us a little bit about your morning so far. What have you been up to?
Had such a nice morning. It's so nice to be back at head office. Obviously, we've not been able to come in so much or at all during COVID. So it's really nice to be here, to see everyone again, see some familiar faces, and to meet some new travel counsellors.
Yeah.
So nice to build my network up, meet other people who've been doing the same kind of thing as me. We've had a chat with the directors, we've done some Q&A, we've watched TCTV be recorded live.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's been a really nice morning so far.
Fantastic. So obviously, as you said, you joined us before all the craziness happened.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your previous life. What did you do before travel counsellors? What attracted you to travel counsellors?
So I worked in recruitment for about 10, 12 years.
Okay.
And I did various different roles within recruitment. So I was a consultant for a long time, and then I did more of an operations role. I did a training and an internal recruitment role. My company did used to recruit for the finance team at Travel, or still recruits for the finance team at Travel Counsellors. So that was how I knew the Travel Counsellors name and brand. And I knew that it was a really well-respected company. We always got great feedback from people that worked here. So that's how I kind of discovered travel counsellors, as it were. And when I decided to leave recruitment, and I was thinking, what can I do? What will I love to do? What will I have a passion for? And realised that I was really good at two things. I was really good at organising and planning, and I was really good at going on holiday.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what if I marry the two together? And I just really, suddenly kind of lightning bolt moment in the car one day. I actually remember exactly where I was when I thought, oh my God, I should be a travel counsellor. And it was that simple. And as soon as I had it in my head that I should be a travel counsellor, I just knew 100% that was what I wanted. Well, I wanted to be a travel agent or a tour operator. And I knew of travel counsellors. So I knew I wanted to be a travel agent. And then I very quickly realised that I definitely wanted to be a travel counsellor.
Brilliant. So you had a conversation with Ash, one of our recruiters, and I believe it happened quite quickly in terms of the turnaround and you starting with us.
Yeah, I think it was really quick. I'm like that as a person anyway. Kind of once I've made my mind up, I've made my mind
spontaneous.
up. Yeah. And I just knew it. I just knew that it was a perfect fit for me.
Yeah.
Definitely travel was a perfect fit, and then I just needed to work out which business was a good fit for me.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a few different businesses at the time. I spoke to my own travel agent, who I'd used for a long time, and she's entirely independent, so I asked her, you know, what her thoughts were and what was it like being completely independent with no support. I'm really glad that I didn't go down that route.
Yeah.
And she put me in touch with another few businesses that had a similar model to travel counsellors, but a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And then I was obviously in touch with Ash here directly, and it just became really clear to me very, very quickly that the support, the level of support, the product, the supplier, relationships that travel counsellors had, the training that I would get, everything, it just was very obvious that this was definitely the best fit for me as somebody who'd never done travel.
Yeah.
The academy training was definitely what I needed, and that level of support that I was going to get on an ongoing basis. Obviously, at the time, we didn't know that COVID was around the corner.
Yeah.
But thank God that I did have that support through that, because I just don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really quick. I think about 4 weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks from that initial phone call, coming in, meeting Ash, having a look around the office, doing all the research on the academy, and then started my training at the beginning of December. So I think it was about 4-week turnaround.
Okay, then a few months later, we're all in lockdown. So how did that play out for you? How has it been through the pandemic for you in your business?
God. So I went live with my business on the 20th of December, got off the ground, got up and running really quickly, which was great. I'd put quite a lot of work in prior to coming to do my training. So everybody on my social media knew what I was coming to do, knew that I was going to be working in travel. I hadn't set up my social media, but I was on my personal social media, was pushing this message out. So everyone knew, so I got up and running really quickly, and I thought, this is great. I went live on the 20th of December, and I did my first booking on the 24th of December.
Oh, wow.
A Maldives booking, which was fab. And then a couple of other big bookings, some honeymoons. And then, obviously, 3 months in, COVID, lockdown.
Yeah.
So through that period, I was quite fortunate because I didn't have to take a second job. So I just kept pushing my message out on social media, offering a lot of support to people who'd maybe booked through different suppliers, couldn't get hold of those companies, didn't know what to do, weren't sure whether they could travel, whether they should travel, trying to get refunds. So although none of these bookings were my bookings, I just was trying to show that I was there, that it was easy to get hold of me, I was only a phone call away. So when we started to emerge from lockdown and we were allowed out again, and we were allowed to travel again, people were coming to me because they knew that it was easy to get hold of me, that I would hold their hand, I'd be there for them. So it kind of really picked up in January, February of 2021.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't remember what year it was anymore since COVID. And then through 2021, I had a fantastic year.
Brilliant.
Yeah, really big year. Lots and lots of bookings. I did do this, I worked the figures out. I think I sent kind of 200 and something people on holiday that year.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it I think I'm sure it's about 260 people went on holiday that year through me, which was fab. So I just tried to keep that momentum going. Obviously, it was a bit stop-start, but just keep the momentum going. And thankfully, it has kept going. And now we can all travel freely again. We hope, fingers crossed, and it will keep going forward that way. And the momentum's just kept going.
And do you think through that we've come into our own now, that people actually want that personal service after the experience they've probably had? Not great experiences from other businesses, and they've actually thought, you know what, that's why I need my travel professional.
Absolutely. Being able to speak to a person and not be, you know, it's 789 in the queue on a live chat. Not be on hold for, you know, there was horror stories, people on hold for 7, 8, 9 hours, and then the phone was cutting out. You know, you'd be tearing your hair out, wouldn't you? I know myself, I'd made bookings prior to becoming a travel counsellor where I was trying to get my own money back from flights and holidays that hadn't been able to go ahead. So I know I was experiencing the same thing, and I think people just they want to know that they can pick the phone up and speak to an actual human person. And also, people are a little bit nervous. It is much more straightforward now than it was last year, but it's still not as straightforward as it has been in the past. And people are worried, they're nervous, they desperately want to go away, but they just need a little bit more hand-holding, I think, than they used to. And that's so definitely travel counsellors and good travel professionals have definitely come into their own now.
And how would you say you've grown your business? You mentioned social media and obviously used it prior to travel counsellors. Have you had to adapt it, how you use it? Because obviously you're now using it as a platform to sell your business. So how have you done that?
So yeah, absolutely. Social media is one of the biggest areas for me. I've never done the figures, but I would say I probably get 70-80% of my business probably comes from social media. And then from social media, the referrals to their friends and family. So it's a big part of my business. My social media personally is I like to think it's very inspirational. I don't tend to post offers. I do post prices occasionally, but not offers. For me, it's not about bargain basement prices or, you know, I can offer you this, so you can go here for £300 per person. That's not what my business model is. It's value added. So, and a lot of what I sell is premium product. So it's people look at it and they beautiful pictures, beautiful imagery, especially on Instagram, and they buy into the idea. And they buy into that first. And not everybody can afford to go to all of these places that I post, but they buy into the idea that it's inspirational.
Brilliant. And if you had to go back in time now and sort of say, you know, 2 years ago, would you do anything differently? Or have you learnt anything? What top tips would you give yourself if you went back?
Oh, gosh. So I think top tip number one, and still have to remind myself of this, when something goes wrong, you know, holiday's not able to happen for whatever reason, a flight's cancelled, something's changed, whatever it might be, don't panic. So the panic is the fear is always so much worse than actually if you just pick up the phone to head office, speak to the right person, you will get the support. So, but when it initially happens, you just think, and especially because I was so new and I had some quite complicated holidays and itineraries to pick apart, and I just was looking at them thinking, I don't know what to do, and it was really stressing me out. But inevitably, you know, as soon as you actually try to address the issue, you realise that it's not that bad. There's loads of support. There's lots of people here at head office who can help you with it, who can guide you through the process. So my number one top tip would, over the last 2 years, would be that. And positivity, absolutely. You've just got to stay positive. There's so many people who, you know, really thought that COVID was going to be the end of travel and we were never going to be allowed to do anything again. And they really got a bit down in the dumps about it. And I just thought, you know, we are going to be able to travel again. This won't last forever. And when it does, people will need help booking holidays and going on holiday. And it actually, as you know, obviously we'd rather not have had COVID for the last 2 years. But if taking the positives out of it, more than ever, people want that hand-holding. And I think that travel agents are the in thing again.
Yeah,
which is great.
absolutely. I think we're coming into our own now as well. And we were talking earlier about educationals and trips you can go on to help sort of develop and grow your knowledge within the industry. Obviously, yes, you had a passion for travel, but you didn't probably know the nitty-gritty of the industry itself when you started. I know it's been a bit more difficult over the last 2 years to do any type of education, but is there anything you've gone on that's kind of really helped you sort of boost your knowledge and maybe think, oh, that's a product I didn't know anything about, but it's really going to help me sell it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never cruised and I've never wanted to cruise, but I do understand that cruise is massive in the UK market, and I didn't know anything about it. So I was really fortunate. I was able to go on Virgin Voyages, brand new ship, in February this year for 3 nights. We went over to Bruges. It's, you know, no customers, no paying customers have been on it yet, so it was absolutely amazing, and it just completely opened my eyes up to cruise. As I said, I didn't think it was for me. I didn't think I'd like it. But there was one morning, I was sat on the balcony, the sun was shining, the sea was going past, and I thought, yeah, no, maybe I could get into this cruise life, actually.
Cruise, yeah.
And it's just great for me now because I know what it's about so much more. So I know who to sell it to, I know who to pitch it to, and I know what that brand is all about now. So I know which of my customers that brand is right for as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And just finally, obviously, this year we're booming already. It's been super busy. I know you were saying earlier you've just been, you know, rushed off your feet and everybody wants to go on holiday. So have you set yourselves any goals for this year, or any sort of things you want to try and achieve for this coming year?
Yeah, so I had my best ever month in February last year.
Oh, okay.
Which I think surprises a few people because it was still quite a tough market.
Yeah.
So definitely have to be. It's annoying me already that was 12 months ago, and I've not beat it yet. So I definitely want to have, you know, another biggest month. I've got to beat that this year. I definitely want to kind of beat I've got a sales target in my head. I won't say what it is, but I've got a sales target in my head. I definitely want to make sure that I achieve that.
Yeah.
Just want to continue to grow my product knowledge. I want to grow my client base. Mm-hmm. My other thing is I've never been scored less than a 10 when we send out the feedback forms to clients. So I need to keep that.
Got to maintain that
perfect score as well. Yeah. So, but for me, it's just I just love this job so much. So it's more about just really enjoying what I do every day.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today, Hannah. It was fantastic to meet you and hear your story. Very inspirational, and we wish you every success for the future. So thank you so much for joining us today. And that's it from us today. Just to remind you that we have some Discovery Days coming up. So we've got one at our head office in Manchester in April, and we're going on tour for May. So we're actually going to be in Milton Keynes for our May Discovery Day. So have a look on the website. The details will be up on a slide after the webinar, so please do get in touch, and we really look forward to seeing you on one of our upcoming events. Thank you.